We're ready? All right. Thank you all for being here this morning. Again, we have another packed house, both on Zoom and in the house. It may get a little warm in here. If the air conditioning should kick on. If not, we'll open the door. So I'm Jana Goldman. I'm the chair. I'm flanked by my two wonderful vice chairs with whom I could not get anything done, Jim Dolzo and Kira Duvernoy. And we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, including Alaska, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Someday. Right. All right. I've got a bunch of chair announcements, so bear with me. Some of you may know we have a new, if you use our password and our Spectrum account, we have a new password and network. The information's in the little office there on the wall if you need it. As I said before, and this is for the people on Zoom, we do have some cards in the office for Betsy Kofia, who is our dear friend and who is dealing with a health issue. For the people on Zoom, if you want your name included on any of the cards, please put your name in the chat, and I will be happy to add them because we want to get the cards to her office early this week. So I know we've all are sending good thoughts and best wishes to Betsy as she's dealing with this. If you want to go, here's State Representative John Roth. He's finally coming into the area. He's going to be at Benzie Shores Library. That's in Frankfurt on Monday from 12:30 to 1:30. If you've got questions for him, hopefully he's got some answers, but here's an opportunity to talk to him. Our Ukrainian families, a little update for those of you who might not be getting them from Julie. One family is doing well in Portugal. They're very happy there. The kids are happy there. They found a nice community there. The other family has opted to stay in where they are and hoping for to get their status changed. I'm not sure how they're affected by the current change that happened a couple days ago. So let's keep them in our thoughts as well. And as we know more information and ways that we can help, we will definitely share that with you. We got lots of stuff for you guys to do, so we don't, we don't want you to be bored. The Honor Parade. Some of you may know that the Coho Festival, if it weren't for Honor, we wouldn't have Coho Salmon. They are reviving the parade. The parade is about 0.06 of a mile. We're doing a walking parade. We are in it this year. We want to make sure that people know that the Benzie Dems are in Benzie County and are active. People can park at our house, Michael and my house on Bingo Lane. We're looking for maybe, either a dozen or 20 people to walk. We're not having any vehicles in this one. So if you want to take a nice walk and walk through beautiful downtown Honor, see our coffee shop if you haven't seen that, go by Kay's house, then that's going to be at, I think we assemble at noon on next Saturday, August 23rd. The parade starts at 1. So let me know if you're interested, and I'll give you directions to our house, and we've got parking and stuff. Another event, many of you know that there is a concentration camp in Baldwin. It's called the detention center, but anytime you hold people against their will for not doing anything wrong, it's a concentration camp. Susan and I drove down to Baldwin last week just to scope it out to see what the place looked like and what the opportunities were. There is apparently an event on September 6th. It's sponsored by a group called No Detention Centers in Michigan. I was a little uneasy about it because I contacted them and they haven't responded back. but the chair of the Manistee Dems has participated with them before. So I got a note from him today saying, yes, there is going to be something. He's going to send us some details. So I'm feeling a little bit better about it. Again, this is a place, if you've got mobility issues, it's going to be very difficult, but we will share information as we get it if you want to participate. Baldwin's about an hour drive from headquarters. We would definitely carpool, but more details to come.
And that would be September 6th.
That would be September 6th. Yes. No, John's going to send me that, and we'll share that as soon as we get that for
It's
you.
in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah, on that meme, it said 1 to 4. You're right. Yeah, thank you for that. So it looks like 1 to 4. So if we were to get there, if we leave here like around noon, we should get there in time. But again, more details to come. Great place to wear your t-shirts that you can obtain by donation.
Donation.
By donation. But then again, Labor Day is another opportunity for a local event. Some people have asked that we do something around Labor Day. We could do something on Saturday before Labor Day if you want to spend Labor Day with your family and say goodbye to your visitors who've been here all summer and before you send them off home. So if I can get a kind of a sense from people of day or time. It doesn't have to be right now, but just, some indication on what you want to do. The events that we have had, and it would be another event along 131 near Stapleton's, those have been really popular and well attended. And it's, because of, all of you who show up with the signs, Colin, who suffered a back injury from holding a sign. So, you people are literally on the front lines. So I really appreciate this. All right, and the final thing from me is we have our annual fundraiser, and this is raising money for us. We really appreciate all the time that people donate, the effort, the creativity, the participation, but we also need some money. We're in a pretty good shape now, but next year is going to be a really busy year for us, and you're going to hear from one of our speakers just about that. Our honoree dinner is going to be September 27th at the Mills House. And this is the 25th anniversary of doing this, so we've got kind of a silver anniversary theme. We were thinking of catering it, but it was too expensive, so we're doing a potluck. And we also want to honor everyone's immigrant heritage if you have an immigrant heritage. So if there is a family recipe that your grandmother made or your mother made or you make that you want to share, let our food team know. Teresa Pfeiffer is in charge of our food team. Got any ideas? We're expecting 100 people, but don't feel that you have to serve 100 people. Do not. We had a really successful event right after the election, when Biden was elected, and it was at Grow Benzie, and we've had about 100 people there. The food was fabulous. And it's always a nice sign when people are taking back home empty dishes and crock pots, So we did it before and we can do it again. So that date is September 27th. I'm sitting next to one of the honorees, so it's not a surprise that we're going to be honoring our very own Jim Delzo for
services rendered.
Services rendered. Thank you, John.
I my great jokes.
Millions of hours.
Right. Millions of hours. All right. Again, so that's a donation. It's going to be at the Mills House, 6:00. Nice dinner, nice event. Andy Levin, former congressman, is going to be our keynote speaker. So if you haven't heard from Andy in a while, he's a great speaker. This is a wonderful opportunity. All right. Enough from me. Jim.
Oh, shall I talk about billboards?
Yes. Why don't you talk about billboards,
Okay.
Jim?
Let's talk about billboards. Okay, so as Janice said, we're having a fundraiser coming up, and we're also, our members have been good renewing their membership, which really helps our budget a whole bunch. One of the things we're going to spend the money on is billboards. People love billboards, so I've got a couple billboards to show you, or actually one
You have
billboard. One billboard.
We could only afford one right now, right? That's why we're having the fundraiser.
And I want to thank the committee that put this together, which included Greta Bulger, who's not here today. I don't think she's online either, but she's our graphics person, and she's been cranking out those ads you see on the front page of the Record Patriot. Those cost money too. So these are the kinds of things your money are going to go to. We're going to work very, very hard to be very, very visible and aggressive this fall, right through next year. We've already got 2 months of billboard coming. There's a lit billboard at the south end of Benzonia there. As you come up 31, it's kind of across the street from the Wesco over there. And we'll
By
be.
the light?
It's, huh?
Is it by the blinking light?
It's past, it's north from that, but you'll see it when it's up, believe me. As you're heading north, you'll see it on the left just before you get to the Shell station, if that tells you anything. And so that's going to run from, I think, the 3rd week of September. Kira put all this together, and she did such a great job with it.
14th for 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks, okay? So that's when that's going to.
You want to show it?
I'm going to. I'm building anticipation.
Oh, sorry.
And we'll also have a billboard up at if you leave on or heading toward Traverse City, you go up that hill, there's a nice big one up on the left. We've reserved that for next year for October, November, right up to and a couple days past the election because of where their rental windows fall. But we'll be king of the hill there for that, so to speak. Okay, so here's the one we're going to do at the end of this, right there it is.
Okay, you have to double click. Okay. Wait, there you go. Yep,
Oh,
that's it.
There.
That's it.
Well,
It's gorgeous. So, the only thing the basket doesn't have is eggs, but that's all right.
okay, so that's what will be up there. I accidentally minimized it. How do I make it big?
It's
On the big
fine.
screen.
It's up on the big screen. You're good.
Okay,
You're
great.
good.
So there it is, and that will start soon, and we'll be working on other themes for the billboards for next year. We might even add a few more depending on how we do at the fundraiser, hint, hint, hint. And we'll also be helping candidates after they get past the primaries next year. So we're going to try to make as much noise as we can.
Yeah.
We'll renew our contract with the Record Patriot and be as visible as we can be in the community. I tell you, between that and the letters we're seeing in the Record Patriot pretty much every week, I think we're having a real effect locally on just people's perception of what's going on. So that's it for me on this. So
Okay, you want to stop sharing? Okay, so hit
okay, great.
stop share. There you
Great.
go.
Okay, now Kira, you got something to say, right?
I do. I need the microphone. Okay, so I'm here to tell you about our I Read Banned Books event. So you see that table over there? It's got a bunch of banned books on it. I'd really rather stand up. Can I do that? with
No,
this?
no. We already yelled at Callie for that, so no.
Okay, well, has anybody here read Catcher in the Rye? Has anybody here read The Grapes of Wrath? Has anybody here read The Great Gatsby? Those were all banned or challenged books at different times. So it's important to realize that banning of books is, well, actually, it's a, in general, it's just a fascist plot, essentially. So the first book not the first book to be banned in the United States, but one of the first that is well known that it was banned, it was Uncle Tom's Cabin. So it was banned in the South because, of course, it had anti-slavery messages. And the people in power in the South did not want anybody thinking that slavery might be bad. So it was not available in the South in the antebellum days. So we know that this administration gaslights people, gaslights anybody who will be gaslighted, lies and hides the truth on a daily basis. And when Trump doesn't like a factual report, he fires the messenger. He lies about crime in DC to militarize the city. He tells American people that immigrants are the reason for all of their troubles. Not true. And these lies are coming fast and furious, and it's important that all of us stand up for education, for truth, for facts, and that happens through reading. So reading is a value that we cannot have taken away from us. We may know that in 1933 in Berlin, 20,000 books were burned in one huge bonfire. And that was in 1933. That's the beginning of taking rights away from people, making people stupid. Those books were burned because they were written by Jewish people. That's all. So we have to support the freedom to read. It's kind of like at the baseline of our rights and our intellectual freedom. So the American Library Association every year has I Read Banned Books Week. And this year, the theme is Censorship is So 1984, which was a banned book.
Still is.
And their subtitle, Read for Your Freedom. So their banned book week is between October 5th and 11th. And we too have a plan to support that. We've talked with all of our local libraries, trying to get them to support to make it known, to give facts out to people about the banning of books and the attempts to ban books. Do we have that? Okay, so this graphic up here shows you the increase in the challenging or banning of books. Yeah, pretty crazy. So in 2023, that's the very high point. You see how it started going up wildly in 2020. The facts are that most of the books that are challenged by pressure groups, not by individual parents or people who might be worried. It's pressure groups. That's why it's gone up like this. It's the Moms for Liberty and stuff like that, which we have locally. So luckily it started to come down a little bit, I think, because people are getting savvy to the fact that this is a concerted effort by these right-wing groups. But it's very important that we stay on top of this. So we have a plan I want to stand up.
Don't.
These lovely
Resist. Resist.
We would like people to read banned books in parks, in front of libraries, or any park in our county. We have these lovely little incognito bags.
They can't see. Here.
Oh,
Let me be the back model. Oh, you have to take the graphic. Here.
and in those bags are many things. Okay, we have to keep it here. So first and foremost is a little sandwich board for your table in front of you, the picnic table. Many banned books are classics. Some of them say,
Or I'm reading a banned book.
join me. And you can't, and that.
Well,
Then we have a little pin for you to wear when you're reading your banned book or anytime. And it says, I read banned books. And then
very proudly.
and in your little kit is, oops, thank you, Callie, is a list of the 100 most banned books in the last full decade. So from 2010 to 2019. So there's the 100 most challenged or banned books, and you'd be shocked to see what's on there. Also, we have a list of the 10 most banned books in the last full year of 2024. And then we have a little kit of questions and answers. So you can read them yourselves, or if somebody stops by, you can say, was race ever a reason for banning a book? And see if
yes,
they
it is.
know.
Yes.
And might they know that in 1970, Mississippi banned Sesame Street because of its integrated characters? That ruling was reversed in 22 days. So, and that Black Beauty was banned in apartheid South Africa simply because it had the word black in the title. So when you read about all the facts and figures of banned books, you realize that it's pretty much a stupid policy. But we want to make sure that people realize it's really an important right that we have to fight for now. I mean, look at that. Remember that graph. Whoa, we want our kids to grow up knowing their history, knowing that these things happened. We don't want a stupid electorate. Pardon.
Wait a minute.
Do you think sitting in front of the library itself would be the best place to do that?
Well, yeah, so we do have a little sign-up sheet here, and we would like people to sit in the park in front of the Beulah Library. It's part of that park belongs to the library and part of it to the city. Also at the park near the Benzonia Library and near the Frankfurt Library. Near the libraries, because otherwise we have to have permission from the library. And then you can be in any other park that you might want to be in, because would have your little button on or have your little sandwich board up. We'd like people to go in more than one person to a spot,
Yep.
just for safety. So I do have a sign-up list for the days in October. It might be early for you to know what you're doing on those days, but if you could commit, it probably is best to go on a Saturday. The libraries are closed on Sundays, so you don't want to sit in front of the library on Sunday. Or after school sort of hours probably was going to be best. And so I'm going to pass this around, and if anybody would, if you would like to resist, please help.
Resist.
Resist.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Kira.
Yeah, you need a pen.
Wait, you need a microphone. Wait. Can somebody get a microphone over to Colin?
We need a.
Wait, you need a microphone. Ah, okay.
City,
Frankfurt.
yeah, right, or and then or it will go back.
Thank you. My other comments are that if you go to Traverse Area District Library on Woodmere, and probably any other library, but Traverse Library has a very large section of large print books. And if you can't find what you're looking for in their large print book section, which is huge, and they have every other library I go to has a large print section, but usually smaller. They will order it for you. They'll get it from as far away as Mississippi, but mostly from other libraries here in Michigan. And I plan to order a large print edition of The Outsiders, which I see here on the banned book table.
Great, thanks, Colin.
I've seen the movie twice, but I've never read the book.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
Something else that you can also do that I've kind of started to do is kind of surreptitiously put some banned books in the little free libraries that are around. So if you've got some extra copies or something, if you're cleaning out your bookcases and, don't know what to do with them, take the list of banned books. If there's a little free library somewhere, just put it in there. You never know. You never know. All right. Michael Hertz reminded us too that there is a protest August 23rd, which is the day of our the honor parade at the Cherry Capitol Library to protest against the airline Avalo. Oh, I'm sorry. Of course. Thank you. Not enough coffee. It is at the Cherry Capitol Airport to protest against the airline Avelo, Avelo, I think it is. But anyway, they have entered a contract to do charter flights for people who have been unlawful, for the people who have been kidnapped, essentially. So Michael Hertz is going to try to find the time for that, but I'm sure it's going to be advertised someplace else. And when we do find out the time, we'll share it all. So again, lots of opportunities for you to make your voices heard, make your opinions known. Jim alluded to our letters to the editor team, and I think Rick Rhodes is here, who's been our the amazing leader for the letters to the LTE team. A lot of the writers are in this room too. These things are so effective. We are blowing people literally out of the water. So Bill Haggard's another one, amazing person for letters to the editor. So if you feel like writing a letter to the editor, you don't have to be a member of the team, but just let us know, because we collect them and put them on our Facebook page, and we keep an archive. So this is the way that we are going to hopefully change some minds, get some facts out to people. It's because of our amazing letter writers. I've got one last little short announcement before I turn this over to Diane Wilbur, who's going to introduce our very, very special guest today. Next month's speakers, we are going to be doing ranked choice voting. We're thinking of doing that's going to be on the ballot, and Jim is working with some potential speakers for that meeting. It's going to be September 20th, right? Because I think it's September 20th, because I'm not going to be here. So you won't be hearing my voice. So that might be an incentive for more people to attend. So, make your plans accordingly. All right. It is my delight to turn this over to my dear friend, Diane Wilbur.
Thank you. I'm just thrilled to be here, and I can't believe this turnout. Callie Barr is going to do it this time. Right? She ran a tremendous campaign. We were firsthand. We had a couple of fundraisers at our house, and her message was so good. Unfortunately, what were we up against? Now is a different time. And hopefully everyone is going to realize that we have got to get rid of this guy, this military guy that has done nothing for our district. Do we all agree to that? Yes. Yeah. I don't believe he ever even met her in a debate, because he's so afraid of her. He's so afraid of the real message that needs to be given to the people of Michigan. So here she is. One more time. Come on, girl.
Really cool.
All right,
Well,
this is great. They're going to let me break the rules and stand and talk to you. So thank you very, very much. Wanted to be able to see your faces, and everyone online. Thank you. If you can see up my nose, just don't pay attention to it.
no, actually, this is good. So thank you, Tom, for making
Yeah,
that.
thank you. Thank you, Tom. So yes, I'm Callie Barr. I'm running for Congress here in Michigan's 1st Congressional District. So I want to start by situating us a little bit in thinking about 2024. So in 2024, around the globe, we had governments that moved further to the right. It was a worldwide phenomenon that happened. And in the United States, on average, every county went about 5 points further to the right. Okay? In this district, we were one of the only places in Michigan that went further to the left. So I want you to think about that. While the People's Republic of Ann Arbor went further to the right, we went further to the left.
Yeah.
We also increased our raw vote total. Of course, we win by percentages, right? But we did increase our raw vote total by about 40,000 votes. So that is good. And we are building off of that now this cycle. So again, just many of you know that my background is a teacher, worked in nonprofit. I've worked as an attorney. I'm a mom to 2 girls, 3 cats, a dog, a turtle named Little Dude. I'm deeply rooted in this district. My family goes back 5 generations in the Sheboygan area. And that has shaped so much about who I am and my journey in getting here today. But a lot of my journey, too, has been shaped, and many of you know this, by my 20-plus years now as a military spouse and as a veteran advocate. I have Matthew here, my husband, with me today. There in the back. And I want to start today by telling you a story. So 14 years ago, my first daughter had just been born. She was about 3 weeks old. And Matt was deploying to Afghanistan. He had already survived 2 tours to Iraq, where we had lost friends that were very close to us. In fact, one of my best friends at that time was raising her kids as a single mom because she'd lost her husband. And that's a tough moment when you're holding your infant child, saying goodbye to your husband, and you have this uncertain future that you're facing. But I have a very clear memory of holding my baby and telling her, like, hey, kid, you know, we're going to be okay. And the reason that I said that was because I knew no matter what, she would be raised knowing that her dad loved her and that I loved her. And the thing is, if there's anything that war makes very clear, it's what you love. And in our military experience, we knew it was not the strength of a Marine platoon, the strength of a military family was never our collective hate for any enemy. Our strength was our love for one another. And I'll tell you, that transcends race, religion, politics, where you come from. And right now, we're living in an unprecedented political moment. And it brings me very much back to that time 14 years ago, where I'm looking at a future and it's uncertain. And we wonder, are we going to be able to come back to ourselves? And what I want to tell you is that I believe and I know that we're going to be okay. And I tell you this because we will be saved by what we love. And that fight for what we love, that fight for this country, which is simply our love for one another, is a powerful thing. And I know what we're up against. I know what we're up against. We have the wealthiest people in human history right now, convincing us of scarcity so that we turn on each other, so that fingers point left, right, not up, down. I know what we're up against. I want to tell you, though, we're like farmers. We're staring at a field. There's a lot of dirt, manure. Frankly, we've all been looking at a whole lot of shit lately. But I'll tell you, underneath all of that are the seeds of new birth, of growth. You know, you take ashes from a fire pit and you use it as fertilizer. That what once was, that provides nutrients for what can and what will be. And I'm going to tell you, it's powerful. Any of us can look at our driveways and we can see that even the smallest plants grow through concrete, right? And I'll tell you, I've been around this district. I've been through the UP this past week, and we have people coming out, and it gives me hope. We had 8,000 people in Traverse City come out for the No Hands Off for the Kings Rally. That's never happened in the history of the city. 5,000 in Marquette. I went to Iron River Well, I was in the UP, 50 people came out. They said, we haven't seen this in 20 years. Who knew 50 people lived in Iron River? Okay? And sometimes I think it's in these times that we have to reconcile. We find, what does it really mean to be an American? Who are we really? You know, I think back to Thomas Paine, American Revolution under British rule, and he said, America is for anyone who is overthrowing the bonds of oppression. America's not just a place, it is an idea, and we have to remember this in the coming months. Thomas Jefferson said, we are equal people. We have God-given rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You know, that was so outrageous at the time because the entire world lived under rigid class systems. That thought alone was so outrageous, it inspired worldwide revolution. Revolution. I mean, even the French, when they went back and had their revolution and they busted out the political prisoners from the prison, they took the keys to the prison and they shipped them to George Washington. They said, you should have them, the father of freedom. To this day, if you go to Mount Vernon, those keys are hanging on the wall on just a little nail. And I'll tell you, there was a French politician not too long ago talking about America, and he was sad, and he said, we can't trust him right now. Right? But at the end of his speech, he said, but I see now the freedom fighters are starting to lift their heads. That's you. That's you. And I'm seeing it. You know, we right now hear the echo of the words from Abraham Lincoln, who told us a country that's divided against itself can't stand. But another thing he said is the great work before us isn't done. That in every age, we're going to have a new birth of a government by the people and for the people. And Martin Luther King, he told us he had a dream, right? Even as folks were being lynched and pulled off buses and beat to death, he still believed in a dream because he said, we will rise up and show the true nature of our creed that all men are created equal, not corporations, not just the wealthy, but we the people. And Eleanor Roosevelt said, look, this is going to take hard work. It's going to take diligence, but we have to earn it for ourselves. She said, in the final analysis, a democratic government is the sum total of our courage and of our integrity. Our government is never going to be better than we are. It just won't. And so it's moments like this that we look to ourselves. You know, sometimes moments bring us to where we need to be. And I know I see a lot of gray hair in this room. And probably a lot of people that thought, I've been fighting for a long time. But I want to tell you, we need you. We need you. Benjamin Franklin was 70 years old when he signed the Declaration of Independence. Susan B. Anthony was in her 80s when she formed the Women's Suffrage Alliance, okay? Even Moses was 80 when he went by the burning bush. So you're not off the hook. We need you. And just like we have Callie over here, and I'm going to remember your name because it's my name. You're here. And there's going to be a torch that's passed, and it's your future. And one thing I want you to know is everybody in this room is fighting for a future for you. And we see hope when we see you here. Because the thing is that folks have given up on this idea of democracy. That's really what's happening, right? And that's because democracy hasn't been working. It's not working if you're not represented. If you can work hard and not put a roof over your head and food in your fridge, it's not working. When you don't have internet, which a quarter of our district doesn't, in the age of artificial intelligence, we're not being represented in government. And that's why we know Jack Bergman needs to go, right? When you have someone adding $3 trillion to the national debt to give tax breaks to billionaires, by defunding our rural hospitals, by taking food away from hungry kids, by selling our public land that we like to hunt and fish on. You are not representing us. When you want to let for-profit corporations make money off our veterans, when you want to bust unions, you are not representing working people, and you're sure as hell not representing us. So we got a lot of work to do, but I know that we can do it. We just want the ability to be able to afford to have a life, local housing. We need housing. We need housing. In the time that Michigan saw an increase in homelessness, about 3%, in the UP, that was about 18%. We know what it's like locally here. We can't get teachers, we can't get dentists, we can't get professionals in because there is no housing. And it's a fact that it's not, a lot of people say it's mental illness and drug addiction, why we have homelessness. We don't have affordable housing. Okay? We need income. How do you get income? How do we do that? Well, you got to support a working wage. You got to support labor unions. We need childcare so that folks can actually work, right? We need investment in our local economy. We need the internet. Food, we need food. We need to be able to afford food, just like the banner. And we do that by supporting our farmers and our local food supply. Our farmers right now are having a tough time. Who thought it was a good idea to pick on Canada? I say, what did Maple Leaf ever do to you? Tariffs are not good. They can be good. It can be a tool, but not this haphazard, chaotic craziness. In a strongly worded letter from Bergman? Okay. Come on. Let's have real solutions. And then we get to E. We need essential services. Essential services for our veterans. We need essential health care. We need health care. These impending Medicaid cuts are going to devastate our rural hospitals. We have an aging population. It is literally life or death, okay? And I'm not being dramatic. The hospital in Ontonagon up in the UP that closed down, but the next hospital about over an hour away is seeing a 20% increase in patient, 30% increase in inpatient care simply from the closure of that hospital. And that's the folks who can drive to get there. A lot of our rural hospitals are already operating on a net loss. They do not know how they're going to be able to function. When I talk to folks who work at the hospital and I say, how is this going to impact you? A lot of them are like, we can't even plan for this. How do you run anything in this chaos if you can't plan, right? And lives are on the line. When we think about folks having a stroke, you need that medication immediately. If you have to drive an hour, it could mean death or it could mean permanent impact. So these are the things that we're fighting for. We're fighting for our neighbor. We're fighting just to be able to have a life. That's it. That's it. And the thing is that we deserve to share in the success of this country. We are the wealthiest country in the world. And it's the people here, we're the ones who built this country. We are the ones who fight its wars. And I'll tell you what, we're going to make it work for us. And our democracy needs to be more than a shell for corporate power. It needs to be our voice. And that's what we're working towards. And so here in this cycle, we've got 15 regions that we're building out. We're building a really strong, massive field plan. This is something that was difficult to do last cycle. Already we have people coming out to help, and so we're building something that I think we haven't seen in a very long time in this district. It's what we need to win. We need 220,000 votes. We're looking in every region where we get those votes, how we pick it up. We want to get people registered to get their absentee ballot mailed to them, because even when it rains, less people vote, right? We can all help in this. I want to get 40,000 people to get their absentee ballot who aren't getting it right now by next year, okay? But I need your help. This is an all hands on deck moment. I know everyone says this election matters the most. This election matters the most. It's an all hands on deck. So I need you. I need your help. I cannot do this alone, but we have good work to be done. Even getting folks these ballots helps every race in the state of Michigan. Please sign up to volunteer. You can do it on my website, callieforcongress.com. We also have sign-on sheets. Matt has them in the back. And tell me how you can help me too. Sometimes I have folks that are like, I'm a great writer. I'm a data analyst and I can look at things for you, right? Tell me how you can help me. We want to have you on board. This is not my campaign. It's our campaign. And if you can donate, please do that. We need it to help fund for the things that we want to do, the digital persuasion, paying for staff, all of it. So thank you very much for having me today. It means a lot, and to see this group and be with each other gives us hope. So thank you.
Can you put some truck things on a weapon or? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, Callie can take a couple questions before she needs to go. If you're on Zoom and you've got some questions for Callie, please put them in the chat and Jim can moderate. If you're in the room, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Thank you.
I already told Callie that some of us women have spent 50 or more years trying to get the Equal Rights Amendment passed, and we did. It was ratified, but, oh, I'm sorry, but Congress will not sign it into the Constitution. So I am asking Callie and every representative I can to please keep talking about that. It seems the subject seems to have disappeared. And I vowed I would not die until it was passed. And I'm 94 now and I'm getting tired.
I want to comment on that too, because, you know, right now, we just had last week, I'm sure you saw, the Secretary of Defense of the United States repost a video of an evangelical preacher saying that women should not vote. Okay? So I take that very seriously. And I think we all need to take that very seriously. It's an outrage. And when you look at that also with the actions of the administration in removing women from positions of leadership throughout the military, they mean business. They mean business. You know, they had a 50-year plan to overturn Roe. They did that. So the right to vote, we cannot assume right now. We cannot assume anything. So protecting our right to vote and Equal Rights Amendment, absolutely.
Can you get a microphone over to Paul, please?
Sure. Just a reminder, this microphone doesn't amplify. It simply is for the folks online.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Paul May. I may be the only person in the room right now who's part of our new community radio station that has started up in this last year, WUWU 100.1. It's an LPFM station out of Alberta that you also can access online. And though, because we're a nonprofit, we have to present in a nonpartisan way, giving you airtime in between now and then. And the other efforts that you're involved in, I think can help. Because those of us who are part of this lean left a little bit. I'll admit that. On a personal note, my son,
Mike, close to your mouth, please.
and Kate's son are in the service right now. And I can tell you from conversations with my son that they're both in these pretty high pressure outfits. They're in a testosterone and ammunition soaked environment. I worry about how they would vote today. My son will be out before the election and we've got time to work on him. And meeting you, I think, is going to help. So I want to work on that. That's a personal thing. So
Yeah, thank you
so much for coming.
Couple things that you raised, I'll hit on really quick. One is that earned media. Earned media means that media you don't have to pay for is really important on races. So that means, can we get in the newspaper? Can we get on radio stations? Can we get interviewed on podcasts? So if you have connections or ability to get us on more earned media, that's always a really great thing. I heard a lot about letters to the editor. That's a great tool. But any kind of earned media opportunities you may have, I was on the Steve Schmidt podcast last time on The Warning. It was a really great opportunity for us. We were on Midas Touch. That helped a lot, right? So, and one of those opportunities I got because a supporter said, I'm just going to write Steve Schmidt. And he just went through and sent an email to their admin, and they looked at one of my videos and they said, yeah, we'll have her on. So you never know. So do what you can to help us there. That's great. The other thing that you touched on, this idea of masculinity, to me, it comes again to the power of hatred, which we see, and this idea that somehow being tough means being mean, and the idea of fighting for what we love. And again, I lean a lot on our military experience. And one thing, I'll say is like the lieutenant that fought with my husband, he didn't jump on a grenade because he hated Al-Qaeda. He did that because he loved his Marines. And he believed in the life that they might have. And to me, that there's so much power and strength in standing up for the most vulnerable and fighting for those that just want, again, to be able to afford to have a life. And that's how we look at strength. Our kindness is not our weakness.
We have
Anybody
a question.
else?
We have a question on Zoom from
Yes.
Reverend Steve, and you're fine. You can just say you can hear me. I just want to make sure people can see you. So Steve said, when you're elected, will you do all that you can to get cannabis off the drug schedule completely? No rescheduling of our plant. He was emphatic.
He was emphatic.
Emphatic, as if you know the rev, as only he can be.
So he can be. Yeah, it's a problem to have it federally.
That's okay.
Sorry, I'm looking in two directions here.
Look forward.
Because many states have legalized marijuana. What we've also done by keeping it as federally illegal is created a situation where we have a black market, where we've got pot shops carrying a whole lot of cash and having to deal with that. That's never a good thing. We have people that use it medically. And they're worried, right? What if I have to take an airplane? Now you're in federal spaces. I mean, it's a mess. And so I do agree that we need to not have this be a federally illegal. But all that comes with, of course, research, allowing research on marijuana. We don't have enough research on it. It's something that we also want to be careful about with our youth, right? There are studies that show for kids under 25, they really should not be smoking pot. It can impact their growth and brain and development. So again, we want to be mindful and careful too about access and how we think about that. But yeah, I'm getting real hot. Yeah.
Yes,
Hello, I'm Quinlan, and
Quinn, hold it close to
I'd
your
like
mouth.
to say that Woo Woo Radio out of Alberta has some pretty good music, and pay attention to the number. It's a little hard to get it. It's not a big, powerful station. That's 100.1 for some good music.
Okay.
In addition, I'd like to say that there's some free media. If you go on Facebook and go for the Traverse City newspaper, go for the Benzie Patriot on Facebook, and then you can make postings for free and put your point of view on Facebook for others to see. If you do it in the middle of the night, you'll be the first posting that is done. The third thing I wanted to mention is that in Germany in World War II, they felt that women should stay at home and that men should fight. And that took away a large portion of the human beings to support the German war effort. And with Rosie the Riveter and women working in the American war effort, it's one of the reasons that America won World War II and Germany lost. Power to the people, power to women.
Yes, we can. Yes, thanks, Quinn. Thanks, Quinn. Any other questions in the room? Rick, can you get a?
Yeah, Rick Rhodes, and I've really been lucky enough to work with a phenomenal group of LTE writers, many of whom are in this room. And we like to write about local issues. We like to write about the things that matter to the people here in this part of Michigan the most. And my question, Callie, would be, what do you see as you travel this area? What are the, say, 2 or 3 top issues that people speak to you about?
Housing. Housing's like a number one issue. And sometimes folks will just say like the cost of everything, which, I mean, and then there's truth in that, right? And especially that's going to be increasingly so as this year continues. Childcare. I hear a lot about childcare. So if I were to narrow it down to 2, I would say it's those. Oh, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, hi. My name is Dave Butler. And one of the things that I've been seeing more about on YouTube is concern over election credibility in 2024. And it's enough. I've seen it enough on YouTube, and I've asked Steve Schmidt about it. I haven't heard back. I've asked our Secretary of State about it. I haven't heard back. I'm wondering, Callie, do you have any concerns about 2024 or the upcoming election? Because we all know that Trump will do whatever he has to do to win and to keep the strength in the House and the Senate. So do you have any concerns about that? And if so, what are you doing to voice that? Because I'm not seeing a lot of it beyond what I've seen online, but there's credible statistical evidence that indicates that it may not have been in 2024. 2020, I think, was perfectly fine, unlike Trump's comments. But I'm just concerned about that, and I'm wondering if you are.
So, great question. And actually, I was just with Barb Byram, who's running for
We love Barb.
Yeah.
She-
Secretary of State. She fielded this same question, and she said, look, here in Michigan, our elections were accurate. They were, and she went through step by step by step. I mean, laid it out for 15 minutes, exactly the counts, how we did it, everything. So she gave me confidence, and she'd be someone I would reach out to her, because she will definitely give you time and put it all out. And she's been running elections for 12, 21 years. I don't want to get the number wrong, but for a long time. When it comes to the coming up election in 2026, I think there are valid concerns. And I think that's why right now we have, they're already trying to rig the 2026 election already, right? That's why we have the Texas Democrats, not in Texas, right? It's why we have Gavin Newsom saying kind of game on, tiny hands in all caps, And I do support what Gavin Newsom is doing. I think that's exactly what needs to happen. And I think we follow exactly what we do here in Michigan. And again, Barb's a great example of that. We can have recounts. We have paper ballots. So that's important. We can go through, we hand count those. So if there are questions, we need to do that. What I'm concerned about is intimidation at the ballot box, right? It's ICE, it's people with masked faces, making people afraid to vote. And so that's why I also think a push towards absentee, like having people have their ballot mailed to them and they can vote from the safety and comfort of their home is really important. If the unthinkable happens in 2026, we keep going, okay? We don't stop. Because I've had that question. I've had people say, what if a national emergency is declared? What if elections are canceled? We don't stop. I've read a lot of Alexei Navalny. He was an activist against Putin in Russia. He famously was poisoned. I don't know if you remember this. He recovered in Germany, and then he took a flight publicly back to Russia. The minute he entered Russian airspace, he was accompanied by Russian fighter jets as it landed on the tarmac. The two things that he did was he was relentless in pointing out corruption and getting people to vote. So we don't give up, right? And again, that's what I think, you know, the Martin Luther King, the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. I do believe that. Sometimes we don't know how long the fight is, but we keep at it. And we are seeing, I think, an urgency of people coming out right now that are recognizing that what's happening is not normal, it's un-American, and it's not okay. So we just keep at it. Yes.
All right, I think we have time for one more question. Last question. Gone. All right. Wait.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Please stand up.
Yep. As a former social studies teacher, teaching government and that type of stuff, my frustration, I can't eat it.
Yeah, you can.
No, I don't think so. I'm concerned about how Americans and what they receive as information, and I'm looking for good sources of information that are truthful, that aren't snarky, that are not lies. And the people that I know, and I do have friends that are megas, you know, they are a victim of the information they consume. And if you have any suggestions at all, as far as, I think I will commend those that have been writing to the Record Eagle or Wicked Patriot, because I think that those have been very truthful, and I think have been very good and informative. So anyway.
Thank you. That's, yeah, great question. It's something I think about a lot because we have messaging voids in areas like our district where the radio stations, the news, the papers are owned by sources, conservative leaning bias. When I ran last cycle, there were some that would not print that I was even running. Well, I mean, we had difficulty getting press, right? And then I even heard from some that said, well, look, our readership is very conservative. If we print even facts, we might have folks that'll cancel their subscription and then we won't be able to stay afloat. Jesus. Right? So it's money, right? It comes down to money.
Yeah.
And so it is a concern because here's the thing, propaganda works.
Yep.
And so when you look at Fox News, when you look at propaganda, you know, we studied this in the 60s. We studied it. We studied the propaganda in the Soviet Union. We saw it worked. And actually, when we formed the CIA, one of the first things they did was, how do we do American propaganda? And at the time when they developed it, they considered it so powerful, they wouldn't even play pro-American propaganda in the United States. That's how powerful they considered it. And so I want to thank you for your comment, too, for recognizing that there are folks that are caring people who are hearing messages and information, and they're up against $1 billion industry that is working against them. And so it is incumbent on us to enter this messaging space. And what I'm trying to do, we're having press briefs twice a month, and I'm inviting folks from the community to come on and tell us what's happening where they live. Because I suspect that for many of us, there are folks who will not trust the news, but they will trust a neighbor. So I do think the letters to the editor, I do think, like I invited a nurse and she said, yeah, our rural hospitals will suffer. I'm a nurse. I help take care of you. This is what will happen. I had some veterans saying, hey, I go to the VA. It already is understaffed. No, if you cut more people, it will hurt veteran care. I know because I go there. I invited a woman who works at the homeless shelter in Marquette. She came on and she said, look, we are maxed out. We can't even house the number of people that need housing. And yes, the federal cuts are hurting us. And so that creates an impact, I think, because you're hearing from people on the ground. There's no spin. They have no agenda. They're just trying to take care of folks in their community. And I'm hoping that starts to break through. But it is something I think about a lot. And probably we all should keep thinking about how we do that. I also think supporting our news like NPR, public broadcasting. Someone told me a stat, if we all just joined at like the minimum level, it would help them stay afloat. They wouldn't need the federal funding. So, you know, also think about supporting media and radio in our areas to keep a voice there. I often point people to read both sides of news and tell them, you know, there's going to be a truth there. If you watch Fox, watch 10 minutes of CNN. Actually, there was a study that showed even people who watch Fox all the time, if they just watch 10 minutes of CNN every day, they became much more moderate in their views.
Wow.
So, and I also tell people to read news from overseas, the BBC,
Yep.
Irish Times. I read news now from overseas too.
Yep.
So we have a better handle because what they're seeing and saying, you know, what's their agenda, right? Manchester Guardian. Okay, great. Guardian News,
Yep.
American Edition.
All right, well, let's give,
About the internet.
wait a minute, Colin.
Oh, yeah.
I remember about 20 years ago when the internet was so wonderful, you could turn it on and ask for news, and suddenly you would have strips going across your screen, and you could keep scrolling down with all the different news stations, including BBC, and I don't know how many others. And that was the first thing that the money people took away. That was too good for the people. They wanted to show you ads, and they got rid of that format. And that is something that I think we should work politically to reinstate, where you can turn on the internet and have your choice of all those stations again, like we could. I don't know when they stopped it. I don't know when they started it, but you all remember it, I'm sure. Thank you.
One
Thanks, Cal.
thing about the internet for sure is we do need regulation there. One interesting fact. Facebook had artificial intelligence create algorithms, you know, algorithms kind of put in front of you what you're seeing when you're scrolling that were purposely meant to incite hatred. Because when you saw something that bugged you or made you upset, you were much more likely to engage with it, and then there would be more eyes on the advertisements, right? To make money. To make money off discord, discontent. And of course, you have Russian actors on there. You've got all kinds of stuff. One thing, too, is online platforms, they are protected by, it's like Section 203, which says what people post online, the actual platform is not responsible for that.
Right.
I think that's something that's worth being revisited.
No, if you've got a comment, Kim, if you got a comment, you need the, thanks.
No, I just, in the last 3-4 months, I've just noticed the more just outright wrong. And they, Rachel Maddow, she's got some sort of goofy site that's not hers.
Yeah.
And it's just garbage. And
Yeah.
I really am finding
Yep.
you have to sift through everything.
Right.
It's really difficult.
Well, and we got to help folks because
Right.
artificial intelligence looks pretty real. When I'm scrolling, I was looking the other day and I told my daughter, I said, look at this beautiful cake someone made. And it was like gorgeous. And she was like, Mom, that's AI. And I was like, what? So she's 11. She's like, oh yeah, AI. And like, I now am having a more difficult time spotting it, right? And I think about my parents. I mean, this is getting to be a point where absolutely the misinformation, disinformation is very concerning. Yeah.
All right, well, thank
you.
Thank you,
so
Callie.
much.
Just a few quick announcements before you leave. The time for the protest at Cherry Capital Airport is noon to 2 next Saturday on the 23rd. If you want to sign up to be in our parade, please do that. And also, Colin, we're getting an idea that the protest should be on Labor Day, which would be Monday, September 1st from 1 to 3. The usual place in Benzonia. We can have a sign making that day from 10:30 to 12:30. We will get more information out. out to you. So thanks to Jan for that suggestion. Thank you all for being here. I love you all. Stay well.
Second, well.
Yeah, and
Yeah, okay, great. It's fine.
you don't lose the chat. It's just when he stops